directly behind. Of course, the second row there, Kevin Siggy and Josh Rogers, they're separated by just a single point at the top of the standings. Let's see what is going to happen. Everyone else is vying to get themselves 25 points to their name and move themselves clear of the rest of the contingent. The safety car will peel its way into pit lane on the left-hand side of the circuit, and the very first race at the Jeddah Corniche circuit here at the Esports World Cup is about to get underway. The control will be that over to Sebastian Job, Benneker alongside, and Kevin Siggy sat behind. Siggy's dragging himself alongside Max Benneker. You can hear them accelerating. Much better start then from Max Benneker as we head down into the first corner. Sebastian Job, though, with a better launch. Let's see what they're like down onto the brakes. Heavy onto it. Max Benneker to the outside for Mouse. He's desperate to go and take over the race lead and potentially the race victory, but I think it might be Sebastian Job holding firm.
He's just alongside Max Benneker. He might be able to stay there, but no. He just lifts off. Josh Rogers slots in as well. He's ahead of Kevin Siggy, and then just behind Darren McCormack and Luke Bennett are fighting it out. Are they still side by side? I don't think so. Darren McCormack has got through ahead of Luke Bennett. Then it's Kaki Oliveira, Johan Hart, Yuri Toman, Marcel Cintiq, Thomas Tatzler, and Kevin Ellis Jr. fighting at the back.
Yeah, indeed. This is where things get a little bit tricky as we depart the opening SS section. A lot of curb being taken through turn 10 from Max Benneker as he tried to wrestle the car down. Sebastian Job's got a decent lead. Remember, Sebastian Job, Max Benneker, Josh Rogers, they have done an awful lot of fighting towards the top end of the iRacing World Championships and likes over in that neck of the woods. They've also done a lot of fighting over here in ESL R1. Josh Rogers sat in third position rather directly behind as we get onto the brakes. Let's see how close it's going to be. This is where the big slipstream, though, as we head our way down the back end of the circuit.
Yeah, it's not straight, as we mentioned, but it is flat out, right the way down here into the braking zone. Finally, when you're going through the chicane at turns 22, 23, then 24, look at how close Kevin Siggy's getting to Josh Rogers here. Luke Bennett getting close to Darren McCormack as well. It's all better off here. And look at the mistake there from Josh Rogers, who just got a bit of a tie-up. Here comes Kevin Siggy into the final corner.
Yeah, the 27th and final turn here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit could potentially see a move in favour of Kevin Siggy. The defensive line's being taken by Josh Rogers. He opens up the inside. Maybe he's feeling the outside line. You can really commit to it. Deep onto the brakes goes Kevin Siggy, and the points leader might be growing that as they head through the final turn. As the first lap is complete here at Jeddah, it's Sebastian Job from Benneker, from Siggy, from Rogers, from McCormack.
McCormack surprised me there. I thought he was going to go for it on Josh Rogers as well into the final corner. That allows the Australian to return the favour. Down into turn one. He's so late on the brakes. Can he pull it up in time? Oh, he can. Fantastic move on the brakes from Josh Rogers, who's ahead of Kevin Siggy again.
No aspirations of victory in this race, you've got to say, from Josh Rogers, because the gap has grown. Max Benneker and Sebastian Job pull out a 1 second lead at the moment over Joshua Rogers in third. We head our way through the opening S's section, which is where the Porsche, we do believe, is it should be strong enough to pull out some form of margin. He desperately needs that by the time they get onto the brakes and exit turn 13, especially by the time they get to the exit of turn 16. Rogers ran wide there at T10.
Because the BMW is strong in a straight line, stronger certainly than the Porsche, so they will need that little bit of an advantage. But look, Josh Rogers has got it. Darren McCormack in that Mercedes is somewhere here or there. You know, it doesn't have many real strengths, many real weaknesses, just has a lot of things it does quite well and quite not well all at the same time. So it will be there or thereabouts all throughout today. His job now is to try and get onto the back of Kevin Siggy, start gaining some points, because while the finalist mode is what we're really focusing on, getting ahead of those who might reach finalist mode first is quite key as well.
Certainly so. Here's a look on board with Darren McCormack. You can see him in the top right of your screen as well, taking a slightly alternative line around the back, and he's not taking the super tight line of what we're seeing from Kevin Siggy. Let's see as he heads his way through turn 22. Obviously, those lines in the backstretch don't really matter when you're picking up a little bit of slipstream. Back up to the race lead, of course, where we're seeing Sebastian Job and Max Benneker be very, very close indeed. But those gaps behind, they're remaining tight.
I just noticed there through that previous section of corners, Darren McCormack did get a good run. I think he's quite close to Kevin Siggy here on the way into towards the final corner as Sebastian Job just weaves around, tries to break the slipstream from Max Benneker, who did lose some ground in that opening race. He's dropped to 5th in the point standings after starting tied 3rd. And there's your margins. Darren McCormack looks like he might have had a go, because look at Luke Bennett now right behind him. Oh my goodness, he goes for the inside. I don't think he really wanted to, and in the end he doesn't. He'll slot back into 6th.
Yeah, he's got to be careful with that. This is the problem. If you're in Luke Bennett's boots, right? If you go for a move, you're potentially getting quite close to kind of taking out your teammate if you're not careful.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, absolutely. I was just distracted, sorry, by a four-car battle further down in the field between Yuri Totem and Marcel Chinchik with the two ART drivers as well. It was all going on down there, and you can see by the gap that's been created there, you can see it just behind. The top 7 are breaking away, but it's still Sebastian Job who's leading the way by just over half a second, and then Josh Rogers with that bit of a gap, and he's starting to extend the margin over the likes of Kevin Siggy, then Darren McCormack, who we're on board with here, just looking backwards from him, and then Luke Bennett, who you can see right in the screen.
Yes, indeed. Well, as we head our way through, Darren McCormack then in 5th position at present because we are heading our way down the back end of the circuit. Kevin Siggy sits in 4th at the moment. Of course, Sebastian Job still the race leader. Max Benneker, Josh Rogers, Kevin Siggy and Darren McCormack the top 5. Very close there for Luke Bennett to close his way through. Getting onto the brakes, diving it through. Still no attempt, though, coming in. I think Johan's lied to us. It's quite hard to pass around here.
But it's not impossible. I think he was comparing it to Orchard Road, possibly, where that's the only other street circuit we've really seen. But look, it is possible. Here goes Luke Bennett on the outside of Darren McCormack. No, not really. He was going to get shut out there, I think, and even unless he dived back to the inside very late on, he won't have made the move. And no, there you go. So Sebastian Job still lead, weaving around again here, trying to break that slipstream from Benneker, who's really not getting any closer.
3 laps complete, 5 left to go here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit in the opening race here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Will be a longer race than it was at the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, purely based on the fact that it's a shorter circuit, but it's a slower average speed. Little battle here between the two vitalities of Toman and Chinchik. Kevin Ellis Jr. and Johan Art there in 10th and 11th, the two Apex Racing Team drivers battling it out. Kevin Ellis Jr. is having an absolute mare at the moment, down in 10th position. Do remember, he is 3rd in the points standings. That is huge drama.
And he needs to be up there with Rogers and Siggy, who are now both having a good race. Kevin Siggy had a good spar, of course. He won the thing, but Josh Rogers didn't, and that was okay for Kevin Ellis Jr. because he could actually get closer to the championship lead while not being right up at the very, very top himself, although he didn't win, but he was at the top. You get what I mean? So this is going to be a damaging race for him. Johan is there to try and help him, but I'm not sure what assistance he can really give around this circuit.
Yeah, certainly so. Looking at this battle, though, a little bit further back down the order, like I say, you can see the drama. I mean, you could stare there at the virtual mirror. That was the virtual mirror of Sebastian Job in the top right of your screen. He is, of course, our race leader by 0.4 of a second. There are close battles up and down the order, including that race lead, including the battle for 3rd position, including this battle for 8th, 9th. This is back up to the race lead, though, and it is a big gap going. Note the different lines around the backstretch of the circuit as well.
It's quite weird, really. I think Job is just trying to break the slipstream, really, rather than try and do anything a little bit different. Surprised Benneker's not following him, despite the weaving around as we about to get out and over and done with the first half of this race. Still 4 laps to go, and it's going to feel like a very long 4 laps indeed for Sebastian Job.
He's absolutely clobbering the wall at various points. It's not wall riding because it's always on the inside, but he's got no fear of those walls by basically just driving into him. Surprised. To be fair, that you can get a little bit of awkward contact with that, and it could send you out to the barrier. There's Max Benneker in the top right screen. You can see Kaiki Oliveira directly behind, who's in this fight here, as Josh Rogers has Kevin Siggy closing in. Siggy's going to go to the outside again. These are the top 2 in the points. A bit of a squeeze coming in there from Josh Rogers as we head down to the first corner. Heavy onto the brakes. The Porsche Commander Man's going to hang on. The up and under potentially coming in from the Slovenian, but Kevin Siggy cannot find his way past.
And how is he going to find his way past? He's not going to get assistance from a teammate, I don't think, in terms of Luke Bennett. Sebastian Job certainly isn't going to offer him any assistance from the lead of this race. Kevin Siggy is on his own here, and he's one-on-one with Josh Rogers. If things were to stay as they are right now, the championship lead would change for a second time in 2 races.
And to be fair, I think we are probably heading towards the idea of that happening, and I wouldn't be against it, but they're not scoring too many. This is the problem, is we had this back in Sweden at Jönköping at the end of last year, where those that were high up in the points weren't really scoring consistently high points. Josh Rogers was winning every other race, and the problem with that is it took him absolutely ages to get into finalist mode. That took 9 races at Jönköping. I was so bored of George Morgan by that point.
And by the way, this would put these two within 2 races of getting to finalist mode. However, they would have to win them both, which doesn't sound likely in the field we've got at the moment. So that's just to give you an idea of where we're at the moment. We could be quite a while away from finalist mode, but we are seeing some great championship drama. What you don't want is nobody anywhere near but nobody anywhere close to each other. What we've got here is nobody anywhere near, but people really close to each other. And don't forget, if we've had 9 races and still nobody's won through finalist mode, the driver with the most points will win.
Yeah, indeed. Like I say, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I still think we're going to need a 9th race, but I still think it's going to be won by someone in finalist mode. So I don't think we'll need that to come into account. So Sebastian Jobe has officially been caught then. We're just over halfway through the race. Big move coming in, though, in the background as Kevin Siggy went for a move on Joshua Rogers, and Siggy is through. The points leader now takes over the front.
Oh, look at this. Darren McCormack's there as well. What does Josh Rogers do here? Does he lay it all on the line and go for another move in the risk that he might lose another couple of places? Here goes Rogers. So late on the brakes again into turn 1. He's extraordinary down there. And that is going to be a pass for 3rd place, is it? He's still side by side going into this first sector.
Now we go down into turn 4. It's super tight on the inside as we get into that 4th corner. Deep onto the brakes once again. And somehow Joshua Rogers, the full season champion, has just retaken over 3rd spot. That was such a brave move. That Porsche may not be super fast in a straight line, but boy, is it good on the brakes.
Absolutely fantastic. Josh Rogers, I think, has got to take some of the credit for that as well. It's not all about the Porsche. I think Josh Rogers has been doing a fantastic job down in towards turn 1 to do that on 2 occasions now. And at this point, Kevin Siggy's going to be wondering, how do I overtake? How do I stay ahead? More importantly, how do I defend? Because it is at the moment looking like a very tall order indeed.
Certainly so. Looking backwards once again from Josh Rogers as this fight is really kicking off. Obviously at the front they will be fighting very hard for victory. As much as Max Benneker, he might be playing the long game championship-wise, you want to score as many points as quickly as possible. That difference of 5 points could make a difference, could make a huge difference. In fact, at the full season major at the end of last year, he missed out on going into finalist mode before the final race by 2 points, if I remember correctly. That 5 points could make a huge difference to how your esports World Cup is going to play out here in the Drivers' Championship.
There's always a driver, isn't there, where there's a couple of points separating them from finalist mode. You need everything you can get. And here's Max Benneker trying to get the race win down into the final corner. He's just got that little bit closer in these last couple of laps after a first half of the race in which he wasn't really providing much threat, but now he certainly is. Sebastian Jobe again looks into his mirrors on the way towards turn 1.
Yeah, Sebastian Jobe also, remember, he sat 7th in the point standing, so definitely could do with a couple of extra big ones into his points bank account. Riding back on board with Joshua Rogers, switching it up to the inside as he sends it down to the 1st corner. That's a big send indeed. Kevin Siggy's going to squeeze him a little bit. Darren McCormack back into the mix as well as he gets alongside Joshua Rogers as they depart the fight at the 1st corner.
Whoa.
It's still going to be a tight squeeze, and Luke Bennett's going to potentially find his way past.
Let's have a look here. Luke Bennett on the inside line should be through. Oh,
Whoa.
Squeeze and a crash. Darren McCormack goes across the curb. Oh, how's that one going to be resolved? Through for the opening sector of the lap, this battle for P5 is not going away. Luke Bennett has got it, though. That was a bit of a bash and a crash, I'm afraid, into the 1st sector.
I think McCormack might have actually lifted coming out of like that SS section, coming out of 5, because I think he might have felt that he squeezed Luke Bennett a little bit into the barrier. And he could, I'm pretty sure he could have held on there. I think he must have lifted out ever so slightly there to allow Bennett to go back through, otherwise he was going to get a penalty that might have been more costly. Out wide, really wide at 13 was Josh Rogers, taking what is effectively looks like the high line at 13 where you can run out towards the barrier. It's not actually much slower if you get it right. We are on the penultimate lap here of the 2nd race in the Esports World Cup Drivers' Championship. Like you say, we are building up to quite a crescendo here.
We certainly are, and I think Max Benneker's still got something left to give here. He's been getting closer and closer, and in hindsight, he's just been waiting for this, hasn't he, really? He's not been attacking so that he can drag everyone else back into the race. He's been laying off for this very moment. There he is, making his way towards the final corner right now. Look at how much closer he is to Sebastian Jobe compared to before. Now just 3 tenths behind on the way down to the final turn. Is he going to leave it to the last lap? He might have no choice.
I think, like I say, this is where I don't know. This is the whole dynamic here. Has Max Benneker left it to this point intentionally, or Has he just not got the opportunity?
Just caught up.
Has he just, yeah, exactly. This is the whole thing. We don't fully know. We're about to find out. Onto the final lap of proceedings, and Benneker's getting close to the rear end of Sebastian Jobe. Going side by side down now into the first corner. The Mouse driver's going to get to the outside. Max Benneker's sending it in hard. Big slide coming in from Sebastian Jobe. Is going to hang on to the race lead as we depart the second turn.
He left way too much room at turn 1 there. He could have squeezed Jobe a lot more, and if he had done, he might have had a better chance. What you've got to do is get alongside by the time you're into the first sector. Turn 4 is a real pinch point, and if you're not alongside, you're never going to get through, and Benneker's just kissed the wall as well. That might be the race done.
Yeah, he just turned a little bit too early for 5, but look how much he closed in. Turns in a little bit too early for 9 as well. We head through 10. He's going to run out wide and use all the track limits. If he's got track limit available, amount of cuts available, boy, is he going to use it right now. Half a second behind Sebastian Jobe as we head into 13 and begin the return back down towards the home stretch. Is Sebastian Jobe continuing to lead, looking for a victory, which will bring him up from 7th in the championship?
I think it's done. I think it's done here. Sebastian Jobe is 8 attempts at clear now. Surely this is too much for even Max Benneker to catch up. He knows how to win round here, of course. Last time we were in Riyadh, he won the Drivers' Championship at Gamers 8. Looking to do the same thing here, and this is a good start into doing that after not a very strong opening race after that incident with Darren McCormack and somebody else. I think it was Sebastian Jobe, actually, wasn't it, all involved? Yeah, he's having a good recovery from that. However, he's not going to win this race. Just 1 second behind Sebastian Jobe, who's about to take his 8th win in ESL R1 throughout 2024, the most of any driver in the series.
Yes, indeed. Down into the final corner, he's going to go. Of course, this will bring him up comfortably in the point standing. I think it might even take him up towards 3rd, if I'm perfectly honest. I'll update you with that in a few moments' time. Out through the final corner, though, Sebastian Jobe is going to go, and it'll be win number 24 for Sebastian Jobe as he hits the stripe and wins the first ever race in the Jeddah Corniche circuit. It is Team Redline back on top as Sebastian Jobe is able to defeat Max Benneker. Fantastic performance.
Understated celebration, but he knows he's done a very good job there indeed, and he knows that is going to propel him right the way up the standings. As you say, the gap from 3rd to about 7th, where he was going into this round, is very, very small, and so any win that you can get will